Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. This is the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And since I'm mentioning Florida, let's get to a little bit of that right now. First of all, sending out our very best to everybody down there along the Gulf Coast and, quite frankly, along the whole state of Florida. Really, the only area that did not get any massive rain, wind, or whatever from this was the far western panhandle or the very deep southern portion, which is where the deck bar is. Talked with John Deck a little bit yesterday. They're good. They got some rain, they got some wind, but nothing like what the folks in the Fort Myers area have gotten. And you know, if you haven't had a chance to check that out, it's just absolutely devastating. And also Ellie, those of you that know, when Ellie joins us on the show, she's down there in Florida as well, and is good. She did not lose power, at least as of this morning, but she said it was loud. A lot going on, and anyway, so we're glad she's okay, and we're just pulling for everybody down there because it's a mess. Also, real quickly, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the injury to Tagovailoa tonight in the Cincinnati game. He left on a stretcher. Head and neck injury is what they're calling it. Pretty scary stuff, especially for a guy coming off of an injury just last week that the league was already investigating. I think this is going to be an ugly thing. I just hope he's okay. That's first and foremost right now. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, and I will give credit to the Bengals fans. They were shouting his name as he was leaving the field, and you know, I appreciate that. I'm sure that the Dolphins fan do too. So anyway, so a lot going on there, but the taskmaster in myself has returned because these three morons took over last week. And quite frankly, I can just start the show and leave because
yes, you can.
Apparently, things went so well. I was getting phone calls and messages about how funny it was, and I'm like, you know what? I don't even need to be here anymore.
Listen.
And I mean, we had guest stops by Casey Kasem. Lord knows who else was there, what other celebrities, but yeah, I missed a great post show. You're damn right I did. But yeah, it is what it is. And good to be back. Hopefully technology works, and hopefully everybody's great. Hello to Bill, Mr. Hammers, Big Ben's Burner. They've already jumped on the show. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, we had really great engagement last week.
We have.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you to everybody who stuck it out with us for 3 hours. We kind of went off the rails a little bit, having some fun.
Off the rails is definitely a term that gets used a lot here. Quite frankly, it does. And
we had SCB overtime for longer than the regular show. It was incredible.
Yeah, I was trying to. There used to be a very popular like nighttime show that used to do its show, but then they had a thing on YouTube afterward, and that usually ended up being better. I can't think of which one it was, but like
Bill Maher.
Yeah, Bill Maher had something.
Bill
like
Maher.
that.
He did overtime,
right?
With his guests afterwards, and they would just sit around and basically bullshit and drink, talk, and yeah.
Well, so what we do basically,
pretty much. Yeah, he was probably smoking some weed, between takes for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Quick shout out to Ben's shirt tonight from Big Ben's Burner there. If you're not watching this on YouTube, everybody, you got to give yourself a chance one of these nights and just pull it up and watch it, because a lot of times there's some visual stuff you can't miss, including the small child who just, holy crap, that was magical. How did that happen? He just put the baby up in the air and magically she disappeared.
Yes.
That is incredible. That is special effects.
Wife run by and grab her.
That's
My
like
wife's
way
a rock
beyond our
star. She's
budget.
the best.
That's way beyond
Right on.
our budget here. Anyway, let's talk Steelers. And holy crap. The Bengals
Holy
right now
caca.
are beating the Dolphins, so they're probably going to move to 2-2, which will put us completely in the basement all by our lonesome.
All right. But we talk about this every single year.
Okay.
Every 4 weeks, the complexion of the NFL changes.
Yes, it does.
It is a marathon. Teams that look amazing in the first quarter of the season don't necessarily look as good in December.
For sure.
You want to peak at the end of the year, but you still need to win games at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, unlike the Steelers right now.
Yeah, and that's
if they beat the Jets, they get to 2-2, and you don't want to. I mean, if you divide the season into 4 quarters, which worked a lot better when there were 16 games as opposed to 17, but if you divide it into 4 quarters, basically as long as you don't have a losing quarter and you win 1 or 2 of them, like going 500's not great, but it's okay. The problem is we're probably going to go 0-4 in the next quarter. So you kind of got to win this one.
Yeah. And to that point, Ian, it's funny how quickly things change because Miami and Buffalo are both in that next 4.
That's
and
true.
You look at the injuries they've got now, assuming Tua's
Who's their
going to be
backup in Miami?
Teddy Bridgewater. And he looked okay tonight.
He's looked not terrible.
No. And
I put him right there at a par with Mitch.
Not sure if you saw last week's game against Jacoby Brissett. Just
Well,
he looked okay.
It's amazing how
he's not a bad quarterback though.
Every team we play uses the middle of the field. Everybody we play uses the middle of the field. We're the only ones that don't use the middle of the field, and that's getting a little bit irritating.
Well, everyone we play exploits our linebackers who can't cover. In particular, Robert Spillane on 3rd down. Why the fuck is he still out there on 3rd downs?
See, here's the thing. Here's my theory: is that the Steelers never throw to the middle of the field, so they never practice throwing to the middle of the field. So the linebackers never get any actual practice of defending.
They had 3 linebackers out there on 3rd down. Sometimes
they did.
They had 3 fucking linebackers out there. Miles Jack, Devin Bush, and Robert Spillane, and they couldn't stop a damn thing in the middle of the field. Nothing.
Yeah, no, it was troubling to me to even see that because it kind of almost told me that we were grabbing for straws or something at that particular time. But in any case, so the Jets come in this week. The Jets are 1-2. Look, they are a miraculous comeback from Cleveland, beating Cleveland from being 0-3.
I mean, you could argue we're a miraculous.
I knew another team is like that.
Absolutely. I was getting there.
I'm sorry, Steel Dad. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
The defense played an amazing game week 1 again.
Yeah.
Away. Yeah. Maybe this is a trend, but I wouldn't call it necessarily a miracle based upon that defensive effort that week, but the D kept them in, and at the end, the offense did just enough to eke out a win. I mean, my God, the kickers.
So in fact, let's start right there because the news this week kind of broke. In fact, Ben, you had it pretty early in the day, if I recall, that Tyson Alualu was demoted, if you will.
That was yesterday or the day before?
It was Tuesday because it was right before his presser. It was before Tomlin's presser. And Montravious Adams is going to get the start, if you will, at nose.
Honestly, is fair. After the way Tyson played last week, he was really, really bad against the run. He doesn't look like Tyson right now.
So what you mentioned that in our chat. What are you seeing from him? Is it Father Time has caught him? He hasn't completely
probably
injury.
Father Time. He's getting driven out of the hole. He cannot stay in his gap. I don't know exactly if it's footwork, technique, strength. That ankle is 100%. All of the above. He's 35 years old and he still plays defensive tackle.
Yeah.
As you pointed out, and as we've talked about numerous times on this show, Father Time is undefeated. Eventually, he's going to get you. Eventually, especially if you play a really physical position like offensive or defensive line. You get to 35 years old, you're up there. So maybe it's just time for Tyson to, be a role player as opposed to being a starter, play fewer snaps, because he can play stronger when he's more rested,
right,
and contribute at a higher level when he's actually playing, and then play the season out and see what happens. Maybe he doesn't come back. Maybe he retires.
So Scarps, Adams is a pretty quick dude for his size. Is that what they're looking for, or is it more about the anchoring ability that Tyson just hasn't been able to provide?
Had forever and doesn't have it now.
I think it's a little bit of both. The one thing I appreciate about Montravious Adams is this week he said that when he got here last year, he really didn't know any of the plays, and it could have fooled me because when they were really awful last year, especially towards the end of the year, stopping the run, he was like the one lone bright spot. Because I remember even on the show being like, they need to resign this guy right now. So, for Montravious Adams, I just think that kudos to that player personnel team, because he was I think he was picked off the practice squad.
Saints. Yep.
So that's good scouting, that's good personnel decisions, and whatnot. If anything, I think that they're looking for a spark on defense, especially with the line. Again, and we can get into this a little bit later, but the rush defense is not good right now.
No.
Even with 3/4 of TJ, they still gave up some chunks, but it was better with TJ, of course, But for me, and this isn't anything against Tyson, but Tyson was a first-round pick in 2010. Cam was a first-round pick in 2011. So,
getting to be some gray hair on the D line.
To me, and this goes back, but the Steelers banked on a lot of things happening this year.
Okay, but Tyson is 2 years older than Cam.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but my point is that
Tyson also started since his rookie year, whereas Cam had a couple years of
right.
Yeah, but okay, the point is they've been in the league, 12, 13 years almost now, and they're getting older. But that's my point, is that the Steelers banked on a lot of things this year, and one of them was that they expected their 35-year-old nose tackle coming off of an ankle break that he was going to be just as good as he was. And I think that's not Tyson's fault. I mean, hell, to me, Tyson's at that age where he's a backup. He's the depth piece, and
he should be. You're right.
Yeah.
They did burn a premium pick on DeMarcus Leal. Okay, but he doesn't play nose. All right.
Right.
I'm not going to say they didn't address the defensive line early. They did, and Leal looks like he's going to be a good player.
Yeah.
But you don't get guys in the third round usually who are instant starters. That's not,
No, very true.
Not what normally happens.
And Ian, I wanted to ask you, does this have anything to do with lack of pass rush at all?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, Adams is more explosive off the ball than Alualu is. And he doesn't have that strong anchor in base, but also we've talked a lot on this show about how, and I think Ben brings it up all the time, a tackle for loss is just as good as a sack. You tackle a running back 2 or 3 yards deep in the backfield, that's just as good as a sack. And Alualu is not getting that penetration at all. In fact, he's getting moved off the spot, whereas Adams is at least getting that penetration into the backfield. And even when he doesn't make a play, if he gets in the backfield, he can redirect a play to have to go somewhere else where it wasn't intended to go. So I think it's mostly about his burst off the ball more so than his ability to anchor. I don't think he doesn't have that big backside like Casey Hampton did, although Casey had a big front side too.
It was just one big snack.
Montravious doesn't quite have the power pack that oh God, what was his name? He went to Philly.
Hargrave
had.
Yeah.
But he does have a giant ass. I mean, he is a big boy. He is. Yeah. Yeah. And he's not short either. The guy's almost 6'4".
Is he really that big?
Yeah, he's 6'3", and his combine measurements, I looked him up once, were like 6'3" and 5/8 or something. So he's tall, doesn't have real long arms, 33 inches, but you're playing nose. You don't need to have real long arms.
Yeah.
It's not super heavy. He's like 310, but a lot more lower body than upper body. And he's quick off the line, not quite like Hargrave was. Hargrave was awesome at penetration.
Still is.
Fantastic. Yeah, he's gotten better actually since he left. Yeah. But a good young player, penetrating interior defensive lineman, which is what Tomlin wants, in particular on passing downs. But as Ian pointed out, you can be very disruptive if you're that kind of a player on rundowns, as long as you stay in your fucking gap.
Gaps matter. Gap integrity. Hammers, real quick, asked a question about making a trade for another edge guy like Robert Quinn or Clelin Ferrell. I personally, I don't think they will.
I don't think they should. I think they burned enough. And I know people hate this term, draft capital already, and they need to hang on to their picks. They need to start thinking about the future. This team is no longer, I'm sorry, they're not in win now mode, okay?
They shouldn't be.
They're not.
They shouldn't be.
They're not because their offensive line is a work in progress, getting better.
We'll get to that.
Their quarterback, who the fuck knows? They got a guy they're not playing who might be better than the guy they have in there as a stopgap who – again, he is as advertised as we've talked about. This is what Mitch Trubisky does. He is as advertised, but he's not good. He doesn't suck, but he's not good.
I'm trying to think of
they're not
that falls.
They're not in a better than bad is the nicest thing you can say about it.
Oh, okay. All right.
So they're not in any position to contend. This is my point. They should not be thinking about trading for players this season. They should worry about the future. And that means not trading away your picks.
Yeah, I agree. And
what you probably should do is trade away maybe a quarterback gets hurt and somebody needs Mason Rudolph for a late round pick.
Actually,
get yourself an extra one.
It's a shame that Ahkello Witherspoon got hurt because with all the Bills' lack of cornerbacks, that their entire secondary is hurt. I was kind of he'd be we've got 3 decent corners right now.
Yeah, you think they wish they had Levi Wallace right now?
Yeah.
Oh, you bet your ass they do.
Yeah.
Ahkello Witherspoon is not good this year, but that's
no.
He's not as good as he was last year, which is troubling because it seems like now they're targeting him. Last year,
people have figured him out.
He was kind of a secret.
Right.
It seems like now there's enough tape out on him that it's oh, okay, this is what you do against this guy.
Yeah. Well, and Witherspoon's thing was always that he was aggressive against short passes. So he jumped a lot of short passes and got a lot of picks that way, but he could get beat over the top.
Every young player goes through this if they get good. There's enough tape that goes out about them, especially quarterbacks, that eventually the opposition figures them out. If they can bounce back from that, they become good players. Until they do, they're a guy who had a chance to be a good player.
Yeah, and if you go back and you think about the nice plays that Witherspoon has made, and the ones I'm thinking of are exactly what you guys were just talking about. He comes up and makes tackles immediately on those quick throws to the outside. He plays it very well. It's those other things that are the issue. So let me real quick just get in a quick plug here for our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code TPPN to get $200 in free bets if your team wins when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code TPPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the National Football League. And that is the sound of a beverage. And by the way, gentlemen,
that's
is now
the sound
time.
Of freedom.
It is the time to ask, what are you drinking tonight? Ian, what is in your hand?
In my hand is Penn Brew Oktoberfest that I have in my kegerator over there.
Kegerator.
Lucky bastard.
Ian is living right, man. Let me tell you. Scarps, I know you're not drinking tonight.
Yeah.
But what do you got? A little Gatorade? What do you got going there?
Oh man, it's Canada Dry, which sounds like the offense. It really is.
Blame Canada.
Blame Canada. I'm on the shelf.
The people at Canada Dry are missing a prime opportunity right now. Let me tell you.
And it's zero sugar. Oh my God!
I was
like,
really
this
thinking that Ryan was going to say he was drinking a Shirley Temple, but he's not.
I'll say this though: Gatorade and ginger ale is my go-to drink when I'm sick.
Oh yeah,
mix together, go half and half.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what's really, really good actually is Makers and Ginger. If you guys ever want to have one,
nah, next. Yeah,
I've done that
week.
also. It's also
I'll
good.
have to try that.
Awesome.
Yeah, and Ben, I know you had. Would you have a little tequila there?
Yeah, I had some Don Julio 70, which is delicious, and I'm drinking Deschutes Twilight.
Oh, lovely. Love Deschutes. Very nice.
That's good shit.
Very nice beer. I'm still working on my Redemption bourbon.
That stuff is so good.
It's very nice. This is just straight bourbon whiskey, so little chunk of ice in there. So
I bought myself a bottle of Dad Hat, by the way, Ian.
Oh, that's also really good. Yeah.
Is it Dad Hat or Dad's Hat?
Yeah, Dad's Hat. Yeah.
That shit.
I bought it when Naomi was born. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, Hammers. The story of the team this past 2 seasons has been wanting to be right versus wanting to win. Kendrick Green last year, Mitch Kent. Well, there's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but I think when you look at the futility of that offense under Matt Canada and 3 different quarterbacks starting games, you kind of have to go, okay, who is the ringmaster of this shit show? Is it the quarterback? Is the quarterback fucking this up? Or is it our offensive coordinator? And as futile as they've been, especially when they were horrible until Ben was like, fuck you, I'm calling whatever I want in the 4th quarter last season.
Right.
It really does reflect very poorly upon our offensive coordinator. And I'm sorry, I'm going to throw a little shade at Mike Tomlin for keeping him. Okay, it wasn't working, and from Mike's perspective, and I get this, he's looking at it going, well, we weren't really running his offense the whole year because we had Ben in there, and he wanted to do his thing, and so we were trying to fit it to him, and blah blah blah. Whatever, man. We were running this shit in the red zone, it didn't work, and they were running this shit early in the games, and it didn't work. And when the offense was clicking, it was because Ben was just making it up as he went along, going off script.
To Hammer's point, though, about wanting to be right versus wanting to win, and we've talked about this on the show a lot, that good teams out there do things to put their players in position to maximize their talents, right? This is something the Patriots have done really well forever.
Yes.
They get a bunch of these tiny-ass white receivers that are quick but not fast, and they run them out of the slot on these comeback routes or whatever that take advantage of their skill sets. The Steelers are running an offense right now that is, here's the offense. You guys are here. You're going to run our stuff regardless of whether or not it fits your skill set. And they've done that for a while now. And before Canada's time too. I mean, going back to other offensive coordinators, like even thinking back to when Mike Wallace was here, he couldn't cut to save his life. Like Mike Wallace had the slowest turn on an out route that I've ever seen. It was like 10 steps that he took to make that turn.
Yeah, but he can run a 7 and a 9 like business.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But they kept, like Wallace's last year here, they kept trying to run him either on these crossing routes where he'd catch the ball and then have to make a quick cut up the field or just get hammered, and he would just keep running straight across the field and run straight into another defender, or these out routes. And it was bad. And so they've done this crap for a while where they try and make the players fit the scheme rather than designing the scheme to fit the players they have.
Real quickly, I just want to make one quick point, and then I'm going to shut the fuck up. Big Vince Burner just made a point about, and Steel Dad just posted it. It's a pure mixture of both. Canada's scheme guys open, misses them. Yeah, but we don't know what the reads are or in what sequence he's supposed to be reading those plays, what sequence he's supposed to be reading those routes. If Canada is telling him to read routes before they can develop, that's a problem, okay? And this seems to be a consistent thing, again, among 3 quarterbacks in a row who are leaving receivers open in Canada's scheme. So what Canada does is he decides when the route will be read, and what sequence the routes will be read in, okay? So we see guys, as fans, that are open at the end of plays when Mitch opts for the check down.
Right.
Or are about to be open, about to flash open, and we get super frustrated. And then we see receivers throwing their hands up going, what the fuck? And we're like, yeah, I was right.
Those same receivers, though, also drop balls.
Sure, they do.
Yes.
All I'm saying
what
is
you
this.
been?
I'm saying is this. We don't really know what way Mitch is supposed to read the offense and the defense and the play as it develops, right? So we can't say for certain that it's Mitch on those plays every time. And if it had only been Mitch, I'd be more willing to point my finger at Mitch. But it hasn't just been Mitch. It's been a number of guys this has happened over and over and over again with. And it's like, okay, you're the guy running the fucking offense. It's your job to fix this shit, and you still haven't. Now it's on you. Okay, because there's a consistency. There's a pattern here of behavior among different quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
It's you, man. It's not the quarterbacks. You are the fucking problem. Fix it. This is the NFL.
Jump in there.
Yeah. I agree with everything Ben and Ian have said. And the one thing I keep coming back to is, first of all, there are a variety of issues on this offense. And it just seems that they all rear their ugly heads at the same time in the same drive, or at different points in the same drive. Like the first one, Mitch has a wide open guy and just checks down because, as you guys said, maybe Canada's like, your first read is your only read. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
No. But then on second down, Deontay, I'm just saying Deontay misses it. Whatever. There's just miscommunication. So it just seems like this, they all rear their ugly heads and they're not getting together. That being said, the one thing that has sort of been puzzling to me is this whole commentary from the players that they're still searching for their identity on offense. It's week 4, and I understand that, when we go in quarters, now that there's 17 games, there's a last 5 section quarter.
Stupid math.
But yes, the bottom line is this team has been together. This unit has been together since April. Like the only thing I could think of that has maybe changed is that Kendrick Green got replaced by Kevin Dotson or whatever that was. But like, this isn't like Mitch just got here last week or anything like that.
Right.
Like I don't understand how, as a coordinator, you're still searching for your offense when you've had the unit together. Like, I don't understand it. So like, as a coordinator, your job is to get that cohesion and make sure that everyone is together, and then to find you have your identity going into the season. And I understand that you're going to have to possibly change those things, but to me, that just proves that like Canada is in way over his head. Like, I'm a big Todd Haley fan, and I know he had Ben and Bell and AB, but like, go back and look.
Are you going to do your Haley impression now?
Go back and look. Go back and look though at at the production he got out of some guys like Fitzgerald Toussaint and Darius Hayward-Bay. Like, go look at some of those playoff games that the Steelers were in, where like, yes, they didn't win them, but they almost like
Jericho Cotchery.
Yes, yeah. Jericho Cotchery, Marcus Wheaton, Leonard Pope. For Christ's sake. Like, I'm just saying that, like, you don't always have to have the best players, but if you can put them in decent positions to succeide, you're going to be okay.
He got Cotchery a big contract to end his career.
He did.
He really did.
He did.
I mean, almost by himself.
Yeah. I mean, and listen, everybody, like, not everybody, people hate Todd Haley, and what they can hate them, and that's fine. But like, Todd Haley wasn't in over his head. Like he put.
I totally agree with that.
He put those guys in positions to succeed. And
he was the last good offensive coordinator we had.
And I don't necessarily even think Randy was terrible, because that made sense to me. But you got to think Seven was calling most of that. But but like, I just don't understand this whole identity thing. I'm just like, what? Like, what do you mean you don't know who you are? What the hell? Like that.
And let me throw this to Ian too, because this is something we've talked about a lot. We've talked a lot about getting a veteran wide receiver in that room. And when you've got young guys like Claypool and DJ throwing their hands up, and then they make comments, you really need that veteran guy to say, "Hey, knock that shit off."
Yeah, or
Yeah.
Cam or somebody to walk in and be like, hey.
Yeah, I mean, knock that shit off. It's not what we do here. We'll address it in the locker room, address it in the huddle, whatever. But stop demonstrating. Not that AB was necessarily.
Well, and that really gets to the whole dearth of leadership on offense, right? You have a quarterback who's brand new to the team, who's trying to basically just put as much on tape as he can before the rookie gets on the field. You've got an offensive coordinator who's clueless. You've got the longest tenured veteran on offense, I think, is Chuks Okorafor, right? Who's in his fourth year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and maybe James Daniels has been in the league longer, but not with the team.
Right.
So, you have a real lack of leadership on offense, where in the past, like, Ben Roethlisberger could just go over and be like, knock that shit off or I'm not throwing you the ball anymore, But now, I mean, Trubisky even said a week ago he doesn't really have the latitude to call audibles, which what the fuck is that, right?
To do anything.
Nothing. I mean, and that goes back to the coaching, right? That the coaches don't trust the players, and so the players are out there, but the players can't change what they are doing based on what they see.
That adds to the frustration level for the wide receivers, because they played with a guy last year who would ignore his offensive coordinator and just be like, yeah, that's not working. We're not running that again. I'm going to do this.
I would say this, though. If you're going to throw your hands up, like Deontay Johnson did, and drop that ball, and that was a great throw by Mitch. But then, and I don't care if anybody – listen, George Pickens made a great catch. I see a catch like that every week in the NFL, all right? I don't give a shit. But I'm going to tell you what I would rather seen George Pickens do was towards the end of the game in the end zone when it looked like the ball was right there and he stuck his right hand out. And then the Browns guy, like, grabbed it, and he did, like, a somersault, and he was out of bounds. But look at the tape on that. Pickens – I mean, it was there. I'm not saying he should have caught it, but like it was just like an awkward thing.
No, and I'm Big Ass Burner made this point earlier. He's talking about our wide receivers are making these amazing fucking catches.
Yeah,
amazing. And then they'll get a good ball, and it should be a routine catch, and they fucking drop it.
I agree. Big Ben's Burner talking about Claypool. I never thought I'd see that, but like he looks like the one that's like, all right, we need some urgency.
Yeah,
we need to be. We got to command it, and like
he actually seems to understand the moment.
Yes, like he doesn't look like a deer in a headlight, but like Mitch does.
Yeah, he does. Mitch ain't the guy, but it's not all on Mitch.
It's not all on him, but the other thing that bugs me about him is he plays with the emotion of wallpaper.
He plays with the emotion of Eli Manning.
Yeah, there's just nothing there, and I'm not saying emotion and enthusiasm wins you games, but my God, Kenny Pickett would at least give you a little bit of fire and
just give me a little tiny bit of Bubby Brister.
I mean,
a little bit.
Yes, give me some Bubby, baby.
Here's the thing: we don't know how Pickett will perform, but we do know he has mocks. Like he's got that moxie. Like we do know that.
Yeah,
like,
I mean. Yeah, you're right, right? We even saw it in the preseason that when Kenny came in, he just had that aura about him that like calmed things down. It's like it's going to be okay.
Let's be honest, okay? Let's be completely frank. None of us wanted to see Kenny play this year when the season started, and now the offense is so fucking bad that we're like, I can't watch this for 15 more games. 14 more games. I just can't. I'm joining the Kenny cheers. Where do I sign the petition? And
no, I'm with you.
Honestly, I mean, I'm not convinced that Kenny Pickett would fix things, but fuck, it can't get worse. It really can't.
And I think that's the argument a lot of people have. And I would also suggest too, and we can talk about it right now, the offensive line's actually playing okay.
Yeah, dude, they're pass blocking really well.
It's not terrible.
The right side of the line actually run blocked really well last week. Okay, not really. Okay, but well.
If anybody's watching this Cincinnati game right now, like I know the Bengals O-line has sucked and they've been so much better in the last couple weeks. But if you're just watching this drive right now, they are going right down the field. It looks like they're about to take the lead. But just the play design and execution on these, like they ran like a pitch out throw from a wide receiver to another wide receiver. They just did a motion right. Dude cuts, Tyler Boyd cuts all the way across the field. And I'm just like, God damn, what is that like? Like, what is that like? Holy hell. I know they
creativity.
They ran a toss on 4th and 1 earlier, but so what? At least man. At least they have some nuts.
I mean, I don't mean to suggest that the offensive line is going to be winning any awards, but you can't ignore the fact they've been better in pass protection.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
The running game was better last week. I'm not going to say good or great. It was just better.
Okay, the run blocking was better.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Najee did a little better job against Cleveland than he did against New England.
Okay, fair, but he didn't. Najee doesn't look right.
No, and I still think Warren's got to continue to get more touches. The kid is he's a bowling ball fired out of a cannon. I mean, he's just
decisive.
He's a better back right now. That doesn't make him a good back, but he's better right now.
Right. Ian, are you still on the bandwagon of you think Pickett, his best chance of starting is that New Orleans game after the bye?
That's me. I agree.
I think that's probably his best chance of starting still, because they're always way too late to react to things. And
way too late to fire Matt Canada.
Yeah. I mean, if it was up to me, I would have started Pickett this week. I've seen enough to know that Mitch ain't it, right?
Yep.
He's not it. And
I don't know.
What do you have to lose at this point, right?
You don't have anything to lose, and I agree with that point completely. But if you're dropping him into a situation where he can't win because his OC sucks, and I'm sorry, I do not believe in Matt Canada at all. He's terrible.
So do you think they're protecting Pickett from him, from Canada?
I think they're protecting him from a number of things: the offensive line, the lack of a run game. I don't think that Mike Tomlin would ever admit the fact that he's like protecting his young quarterback from an offensive coordinator. We're never, ever, ever going to hear that. But protecting him from the situation. They know that eventually that Pickett's going to be the starter. It is what it is. He's a first round pick. Eventually they're going to go, we're paying this guy this much. We're going to find out if he can play. Right.
Yeah.
But when that happens, I'm betting exactly what Ian bet earlier this year. After the bye, 2 weeks to prepare him, followed by 2 home games. It's a pretty ideal situation.
It does make it right. It all adds up. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. One other point on the running game. And Tomlin's done this with guys before, and whether it's a good idea, bad idea, whatever, he has his bell cow back, and the other guys are on such a short leash. Warren didn't get another carry after he fumbled that ball.
Nope.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
I don't think he did.
No.
Yeah, he did. He went right back into the game. He got another carry.
No, he didn't.
He did.
He may have gotten more snaps.
We'll dig up the info on that.
Yeah, he got a long carry actually after that.
No, that was a screen pass.
You're right. You're right.
Penalty.
That was a screen.
The shovel.
You're
shovel.
Right.
The shovel pass got called back on penalty.
To Big Ben's Burner's point,
which was kind of the turning point in the game. That penalty,
but he got more touches after that fumble.
He got one more touch. That was it. That was the only other touch in the game.
Be that as it may, the point still stands.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you saw Tomlin ripping his ass right after
he wants to use them, but he's not. If he can't trust him, he's not going to use them.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, just a quick note on Raycon earbuds, if you will. Go to buyraycon.com today and use code TPPN15 to get 15% off your Raycon order. That's code TPPN15 at buyraycon.com to score 15% off. Buyraycon.com, code TPPN15. And again, these are marketed very much as an alternative to a lot of the higher price stuff. These go for about $75. You get that 15% off. Customizable sound profiles, noise isolation,
50% off on $75. Seriously?
15% off.
15% off.
15, yeah, not 50. I would have bought.
But still on $75. That's
Yeah, but
all right.
yeah,
I'm actually thinking about this now.
Yeah. So check that out and visit the fine folks at Raycon, brand new company, as a matter of fact. So, from what I understand, as I just hit the table, which I know annoys Ben.
It annoys all the listeners too, Mark.
Yeah, I know. It's this damn supersonic microphone I have here. Okay. Jets coming up this week. It looks like we're going to get Zach Wilson, the quarterback who looks like he's 13 and just starred in a High School Musical production.
And was banging his mom's best friend.
And thanks, Ben, for keeping the show PG-13 there.
Yeah, I mean, you got to imagine all the Cougars in Pittsburgh are going to come out for that game.
You would think, right? Right. I mean, they're out anyway. So why not? But would you rather Scarpino? Would you rather see Zach Wilson or Joe Flacco?
I don't know. That's a really good question. Because I don't care what anybody says. I don't think this defense is playing that well. They've struggled getting pressure. They've struggled to stop the run. They can't get off the field in situational downs. So I'm more afraid of Zach. I guess I'm more afraid of Zach Wilson because he can run. Joe Flacco ain't running anywhere. No. Joe Flacco does have some wins that, I mean, you got to think Flacco has the most wins in Acrisure or Heinz Field as an opposing quarterback, right? Maybe
Brady.
More than Brady?
No,
I don't know.
Brady.
But yeah, it has to be Flacco. Like, Flacco's had his moments. Like, Flacco, yeah. I know his record against Ben wasn't that great, but Flacco against the Steelers wasn't terrible. Like, he had some really good games, including at Heinz. He had some bad ones too. Pull them all at pick six anyway. But I really don't know. I don't care how they get the job done. But if they don't beat the Jets, this is going to be a really, really, really long season, especially with these 4 games coming up. I think the other thing, too, about the Jets, they got 2 good running backs. They got weapons. Their offensive line isn't that great. But
but we're not that great at stopping the run.
Yeah, right. Robert Saleh earlier this week talked about the importance of keeping running backs fresh. And it wasn't a shot at Tomlin or anything like that. They just asked him, "What's your philosophy?" And he basically just said, "We want to keep our guys fresh. Like, we don't want their careers to end when they're 30." Like pretty much every Steelers running back over the past,
like all 15, of a sudden, like Tomlin's reversing course from his entire
years.
career.
No. So don't sleep on. I mean, their defense isn't great, but don't sleep on the Jets. Everybody's a little confident. There's a little bit.
No, I'm with
confidence like that Patriots week. I don't.
Right.
Just let's see what happens.
I'm going to change course here a minute, and I'm going to ask the 3 of you.
Sure.
Who would you rather have at quarterback right now? Mitch Trubisky or Joe Flacco?
Flacco.
Mark?
I'm actually going to say Trubisky. And
the
reason why is mobility behind this offensive line.
He doesn't even run. He gets tackled by defensive ends.
You're right.
You
know why he does that? Because the asshole won't step up into the fucking pocket.
Yeah.
He goes outside, making himself available to be sacked.
Right. Now, had I known...
He ain't outrunning anybody.
Had I known that they would actually be making a fairly decent pocket through the first 3 weeks, then I probably would have said, Joe Flacco, because he is obviously going to step up in the pocket.
I mean, right now, would you rather have Flacco or Trubisky?
Well, I mean, right now, based on the fact that the offensive line is playing better and I'm going to get a much, much more experienced and smarter quarterback in Joe Flacco, then I'm going to take Flacco.
Yeah,
I'm just
that's who I'm taking.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Shoot, I sat there.
Mitch Trubisky ain't the guy. He's playing dumb. I'm not saying it's his fault that things are going bad because it's not all Mitch's fault, but he's playing fucking dumb. What the hell? Where did Ryan go?
Who knows? He'll be back.
All right.
But you know who else was on the market when Mitch Trubisky was? Is a guy named Jacoby Brissett who looked pretty damn good against us.
Yeah, Brissett has some bad tendencies though too.
Yes, he does.
And we just didn't expose them on Thursday. The thing that
Brissett also, I mean, they ran the ball so much he wasn't necessarily asked to make game-winning plays.
Ryan hit the nail on the head when he said that this defense is generating no pressure. This is a scheme that is predicated upon generating pressure. And if you can't do that, the scheme does not work, right? You got to generate pressure. TJ Watt goes out.
Yep.
There's no depth at outside linebacker. Suddenly, it's much easier to defend the Steelers pass rush. It just is. You don't have to think about that guy coming over there from the right. You can devote more resources to the rest of the defensive front, and it becomes a lot easier to defend the Steelers pass rush. It just they really and we talked about this, and I'm not trying to pat us in the back because everybody saw it. Sure. The lack of depth along the edge this year, last year, has been a really, really sore subject.
Yeah.
It's the obvious flaw to this team.
By the way, didn't Derek Tuska get picked up by the Chargers?
I don't know.
I think I saw that. So there's another depth piece. Well, he does, but there's
good
another
fucking
depth
riddance.
Piece. Yeah.
I'd rather have Anthony Chickillo back.
Or Melvin Ingram.
Wow.
Well, Melvin Ingram actually should have probably fucking stayed, but didn't.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And AFC Player of the Month too.
Yeah. Whatever. As Scars pointed out today, it's not like Ingram's playing more snaps now than he was playing when he was in Pittsburgh. He's not.
True. Just for the record, we were mumbling about it. Tom Brady has 6 wins at Heinz Field. And no, I'm not calling it Acrisure. And Joe Flacco has 5.
Oh, I was there.
Yeah. Yep.
I just want to say this out loud. It'd be really wonderful if Hayden Hurst could get one more catch tonight.
Oh, here we go, Mr. Fantasy
football.
Right?
No, it's not. It's not fantasy.
Oh, it's a parlay.
Reality.
It's a parlay.
Reality.
No, it's reality. Getting back to Melvin Ingram, I just want to say this real quick. I would rather have more good defensive players than not good defensive players. I'd rather have, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay,
Ingram didn't want to be there.
We don't know that.
We do know that.
No, we don't. We were told what
the guy got injured and cleaned out his locker.
He got injured and then played pretty quickly.
He got injured and played for someone else pretty quickly.
Yes.
He got injured in Pittsburgh and cleaned out his locker and didn't come back to the building.
But doesn't that make you think that they told him something different?
It makes me think that I don't know. They told him something different? No. I think that he thought he deserved playing time over Alex Highsmith, who leads the league in sacks right now. But setting all that shit aside, I think that he was kind of a little bitch.
In sacks. That's so awesome.
Yeah, it is actually.
I'm mocking you a little bit because
I think Berner asked a good question about Highsmith. Look, we've seen the same thing with Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree's freaking disappeared in Tennessee.
Bud Dupree was Robin to Batman.
Absolutely.
Okay? But he
was Highsmith Robin to
he
Batman?
Was legit. Yes, he was. Yeah, Highsmith absolutely was Robin to Batman in week 1. No question.
Yeah.
And it's been a lot more difficult for him to generate pressure and get sacks since.
It was interesting. You saw who they doubled most of the week on Thursday night. Cam.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? He's
of course.
He's the best guy along the defensive front.
Right. But what I'm getting at is that means Highsmith wasn't necessarily beating those one-on-ones. He ended up with a sack and a half, though.
Yeah.
I think so. Okay. All right.
No. He did fine. He did fine. But he's not. Highsmith's not a stud. Okay. All I'm saying is he was a young ascending player.
Yeah.
Melvin Ingram is a guy who's, where's he in his 3rd team, 4th team now? 4th team now.
Yeah.
And he's kind of viewed as a guy who's got some skill, but he's not an ascending player. You want to develop your young ascending players, which is why Highsmith was playing more than Ingram. Ingram thought he should be playing more in Pittsburgh, got injured.
Mm-hmm.
As I understood it, the doctors thought he was fine. He said, no, I still can't play. I can't perform, blah, blah, blah. Cleaned his locker out and left town. Okay? Guy didn't fucking want to be here. Didn't want to be there. Okay? Didn't want to be there.
He was a hostage.
It is what it is. Steelers traded him, got something for him rather than cutting him. Which anyway, whatever. That's last season.
I would have
gives
also.
A shit.
But
this year, they should have signed somebody, an outside linebacker, who was willing to play the third wheel and be the guy. All right.
I think it was Malik Reed.
It was
no, it wasn't. It
no,
was,
no, it was
it would have been.
No, they traded for Malik
Reed. Was a last minute trade at cut.
Last minute trade from Denver.
Who was the guy they
he was
signed?
there before the season.
Oh, Denard Avery. No,
it was Denard Avery, who thought that he should be playing ahead of Highsmith again.
Yep.
And so they cut him. They're like, okay, you don't want to be here. You think you should be playing ahead of this guy? You want to leave? Okay, bye.
Yeah. And let's point something else out here, because Mr. Hammers brought up a good point. Our offense isn't staying on the field long enough for the defense to get rest, right? The defense has played like 60 more snaps than the offense. That's like
break it down for us.
It's a full freaking game.
That's a full game. Yeah, that's an entire game that the defense has played more than the offense. When your offense, especially in the second half, has 3 3-and-outs, 2 of them in the fourth quarter, after your defense has already played, 45 minutes the first week, 36 minutes the second week, like they're going to have nothing left at the end of the game. Your offense has to help them out a little bit by
same thing as last year.
Our PZO tweet earlier this week.
Scarps, did you happen to stumble on like historically where they are in terms of time of possession?
He stumbled across it. He researched it.
Yeah,
tell us, Scarps.
I got to pull the second one. The first one, the defense has been on the field 231 plays through the first 3 games. That's the most in the first 3 games of any season in Steelers history. I think it's since the merger.
Is that so? Just I have to ask: is that just regulation, or is that also counting the overtime against the Bengals?
All plays run, so the overtime, that extra quarter counts.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah. That matters.
So the offense has been on. The offense has run 174 plays through 3 games, and I think that's the 5th fewest in the first 3 games of any season since the merger in Steelers history.
Overtime game,
including an overtime game.
It's still that 5th fewest plays.
And then for the time of possession, it's 76-33 this year, second lowest of any of the team's first 3 games of any season in Steelers history. Since 1983. That's when the first time it was tracked. The only other time it was worse was 2019. So you're right. The offense isn't extending drives. The defense isn't getting off the field, and that is just a recipe for disaster. And we saw that last year with especially when the rush defense broke down, like that Chargers game last year. I mean, they couldn't. The Chargers couldn't get a stop to save their lives. But like, remember that when Cam chased down Herbert, and like we don't know. I don't think he punched him. Remember it was like, did he punch him or not?
Yes,
but literally, like Cam was like, I was exhausted, and I'm like, damn right, because he ran. He's the only dude that had any heart to run to the ball that far. But then, how many the discrepancies in plays was just ridiculous. And that's the other thing. We getting back to Canada. Even with Ben last year, they weren't extending drives. It was rough. So that's why I start to think like, shit. I mean, if this wasn't working with Ben, and Ben had the liberty to audible, and it looked like the only time they were ever any good is when he did that. So that's why I don't like Canada. But
here's a prime example of what drives me insane is the defense was just on the field. I think this was last week. 13, 14 play drive. They give up points. We come out. We're facing a 3rd and 3, and Trubisky throws deep down the side. And granted, it was a good ball, and it should have been caught.
Right.
But it wasn't. And now it's 4th and 3, and you got to punt, put your defense right back on the field.
I didn't have a problem with the call, problem with the throw.
Well, so what I'm getting at is, why not call something that is about getting the first down? Because at that point, you got to get your defense rest.
Because their D is expecting you to throw that short ball to get you to chains. Okay.
Yes.
So, moment you take a chance because you need a spark. You're behind in the game. A vision game you need to win. A spark. You need something to happen. So you got. All right. The throw was good. That is good. The play, honestly, not a bad play. It was fun. It just he catch the fucking ball. Everybody's got to perform. All 11 guys have got to perform. As Scarp's numerous times. We got guys making amazing catches. Amazing. And then dropping the routine catches. You can't fucking do that. You can't do it.
No.
Routine catch happens, especially on third down. You got to you got to catch it. Even if you fall down on the long throw. If you fall down there, it's like a 25, 30-yard gain.
Yeah. No, it's just one of those things that, and Ben was guilty of it for years.
Yeah, we called it YOLO ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
YOLO ball.
YOLO ball.
But he was full of a lot of those throws.
Yeah.
Well, until 2020.
Yeah. Well, and the thing with Ben though was if Ben saw single coverage on guys on the outside, he didn't friggin' care if it was 3rd and 2. He was like, all right, I know Antonio Brown or Mike Wallace or whoever can beat this guy over the top. He's got single coverage. There's no safety on him. I'm going to throw it up and let my guy try and make a play. Mitch either doesn't trust his guys enough to make plays or doesn't have the latitude to trust his guys to make plays.
The latter.
He did it a little bit more against the Bengals, but he's staring down guys. He's not not Bengals, sorry, against the Browns. He did a little more against the Browns.
He tried to form more downfield in the first half, not the second. In the first half last week, than the second. And the second half, he went right back to Mitch Trubisky, who's so goddamn pretty.
Yeah. Well, I think some of it was in the second half.
That was Scarps.
They went into the second half with
that was me.
They went into the second half with a lead, and they started playing super conservative of like, let's not blow this 1-point lead instead of let's try and put more points on the board.
Yeah.
And it was dumb as shit. And that you hate to blame everything on a penalty, but that penalty on a core 4 really changed the game. I mean, they would have been 1st and goal or 1st and they were in the red. It was either 1st and goal from the 7 or 1st and 10 from the 12 or something like that.
Yeah.
They would have been in the red zone and
that
had
was a
pretty good chance.
But 4-4 actually did play a pretty nice. I got to give him props. He did. He run well. He passed well. He made himself look like he was $9 million.
Yeah, Ben, your audio is real choppy right now. I'm not sure why.
Choppy.
It has for the last couple of minutes here. I do want to bring up something, and I brought this up in our group chat. Does Tomlin at times try to protect his defense a little too much by doing things with that offense in an effort to try to protect them? In other words, you guys were just talking about being aggressive. Even though you got the lead, stay aggressive, get more points. It's almost like Tomlin goes Marty Schottenheimer at times.
I said that last week. They play on offense like they're so deathly afraid to make a mistake because they know if they give up 17 to 20, they're going to lose.
Bingo.
I mean, once again, Matt, like the Patriots aren't good. And they gave up 17. Nick Folk missed a long field goal, but the Patriots moved the ball pretty much whenever they wanted to. And then the Browns last week or however long ago it was. I mean, shit, like that was like men against boys. Like that wasn't even like it was awful. And like, they actually they were up 14-13 at half.
Yep.
Yeah.
Up 14-13 at half. I mean, I know Boz usually doesn't miss, but like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know why they attempted a 50-something yard. It was a 49 or 50-yard field goal in that win. Like, I thought that was just suicide. I don't get that. Anyway, but they on offense, they're just, they look like they're afraid to make that mistake that'll put them behind.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, again, like the Browns look pretty good the other night, not on defense so much, but like, I can understand that Bridgewater's true pick. I can understand that mentality when you're maybe playing the Bills or the Bucks or one of these opponents coming up. But like, are you that afraid of Mac Jones?
Wow, exactly, Scarps, exactly.
Like, or even Jacoby Brissett. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not. It's like,
no, I mean, but that's just it. We're gonna have to score points to beat Tom Brady and to win in Buffalo. I just cannot imagine that he thinks we're going to go up to Buffalo and hold them to 14 points or 17 points
Hayden
right
Hurst,
now.
put it
It'd be
out
great
there.
if he did, but I don't see it. I don't know. Ben is back here. Give me 1 second. There he is.
All right, you look better.
Yeah, much better.
Oh, maybe. Oh, I don't know.
So far, so good. Yeah, so far, so good. Let's see here. Oh, by the way, do I get a Casey Kasem tonight, or because I'm here, I don't get it? Or
well, you really should have. You should have probably gone back.
Well, I told you I didn't need to see anything because I got the entire play-by-play.
I'll give
It's really hard to do that, when it's not spontaneous. It was.
Hold on, I gotta think of. I'll give you one later. Let me do a little research. I'll give you one before.
Yeah, I want like Casey Kasem top 40 countdown from like 1982.
All right, you want 82?
Yeah,
this week.
82.
All right,
82. Really?
What's the date? What's the date on Sunday? The 2nd.
Second. Yeah.
October 2nd.
All right, hold on. Let me look at the songs on this. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Oh, okay.
Let me look at the songs.
Hey, by the way,
here we go.
Since we're talking about the Jets here, the Steelers have not had the best track record against the Jets. They're 1-2 in their last.
Shut up, Ian.
4-4 in their last 8. Like,
but they've only lost to them once at home.
That's true.
They got that going for them.
The dumb results happen in New York, like that. Remember that 6-0 game back in, when was that? It was 2003. I'm looking at it now.
That's right.
That was awful.
It was a rainstorm, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a rainstorm. And then there was another game in New York a couple years ago that we went up there and they were just kicking the snot out of us. And then we scored like a late touchdown with like a minute and a half left to make the game seem closer than it was. Yeah, I don't know. We've played stupid against them. But to answer your question from earlier, I would rather have Zach Wilson than Joe Flacco because Joe Flacco's been around the league and seen a lot of defenses and is smart enough to know where not to throw the ball. I don't think Zach Wilson is smart enough to know where not to throw the ball. So, yes, he's more mobile. Yes, he has a big arm just like Flacco has. And they have some talent on that team. But I think there's more variability towards badness in Wilson's game than there would be with Flacco.
I agree.
Flacco's going to give you that Jacoby Brissett, like, I'm going to, just manage the game and try and come out on top and win it late versus, Wilson's going to go out there and be a gunslinger and maybe throw a couple picks.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping we get some turnovers. But more than that, we can't convert those into field goals. You got to convert them into touchdowns. It just has to be that way, at least in my opinion. Ben, make sure you unmute yourself before you chime in. Let me see here. I'm just looking. Ian has a comment about what? Well, I was just going to say, before you comment at all, you were still muted. In any case. So, interesting week coming up this week, end of that first quarter, if you will, the end of the first 4 games of the season. And then, of course, it gets crazy with Buffalo, Philly, Tampa, Miami. It's going to be a murderer's row, if you will, for the Steelers. And hopefully.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. And we talk about this every year. Tom Brady doesn't look good right now.
He doesn't, but he's still Tom Brady, and we're still the Steelers.
Bucs defense does look good.
Yes.
Yes.
So there's that. But Tom Brady does not look good right now. And Tua, that injury tonight was scary.
Didn't look good.
I'm kind of wondering if we're not going to see him for a while.
I tend to agree.
I watched the video and Scarves pointed this out before I watched it. His hands and his body were doing some weird shit right after that hit. That was
fencing response.
Yeah, that was scary, man. Yeah.
And just as a reminder, we
sorry, still down.
Yeah, I was just going to mention we saw Bridgewater actually last year. He quarterbacked Denver in the Steelers win over Denver last year at home. So if we do see him again, it won't be a new thing. Scarps?
No, I was, and I know it's not the same injury, and obviously I hope Tua is okay. But it seems to me like that there was, there wasn't the proper protocols or procedures, right? Like it looked like he was messed up last week, so to me, somebody made a mistake there because I don't think he should have played tonight. Like obviously there was something going on. So
Ryan, I look, man, I love the NFL. I love football. But if these two things are linked, the Dolphins are in serious fucking trouble.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. Like Stephen Ross has already been in trouble for the tampering
exactly.
with let's not act like. But here, my point being about it is, and I know it's not the same thing, but Steelers fans, and I said this on the show, it's a fear of mine that this team tries to rush TJ Watt back or something like that, or TJ wants to come back before.
Which he's going to want to.
Of course. And you got to be smart and say, listen, like I really do think like at that point, whenever he is ready to come back, that you should look at your record and see like what the long-term thing is here. And if he says, I don't give a shit, I'm playing this week, and you say, no, you're not, because and that's the other thing too. He is the franchise.
Yeah.
He's the franchise. Kenny Pickett's not the franchise. Maybe one day he will be, but he's not the franchise. TJ Watt is.
Yep.
So again, like I just hope that the Steelers are understand this. Please catch it. Please catch it. Yes. Sorry.
As you can tell, someone's interested in reality football, ladies and gentlemen. Good question from Big Ben's burner. If Mitch sucks in the first half, any chance we see Pickett in the second?
No.
Personally, I don't think so, but I'll be screaming for it.
There's going to be a lot of Heinz Field that's going to be screaming for it. The first time they go 3 and out, the first time, it's the opener against the Patriots, we heard one Kenny chant. I can guarantee you there's going to be a lot more of this game.
And I don't like it, but I get it. I mean, I feel for Trubisky, but at the same time, winning, playing well takes care of a lot of things. And I think just the sheer emotion of seeing Pickett come into the game would make that place go nuts. And it's also going to put butts in seats too. And I think
that everybody just needs to slow their fucking roll on the whole start Kenny thing. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Tomlin's going to make a change. No, look back to 2019.
Yeah.
Okay. Mason Rudolph sucked. He was not good. All right. Okay. Sorry, guys. I know Mason defenders. Yeah, but he had all this. Yeah, whatever. Shut the fuck up.
But don't you think Pickett already looks better than Rudolph, though?
In 2019, Devlin Hodges came in week 11.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think Tomlin might make a change earlier than week 11 this year? Yeah, I do. Do I think it's going to happen week 4? No, I don't. It ain't happening.
No, but Duck had to start because of Duck started in LA because
of the injury.
Right.
But Tomlin had no choice.
Exactly.
And then he had no choice in that Cincinnati game after the Rudolph helmet incident. Mason was done.
Right.
Mentally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the LA game and no, it was the Baltimore game he had to bring him in.
Yeah. But yeah. So there was a variety of times.
Got knocked out.
Because he had no other choice. So Big Ben's burner talked about this earlier. He said, like, Duck provided a spark. And he did to an extent. But again, Tomlin had no choice but to go to Duck. Tomlin is doing everything in his power to not go to Pickett too early unless he absolutely has to.
I agree. Right, I'm sure that's what it is.
So, and we all, I agree. Duck didn't give a shit. Duck didn't care.
It was awesome.
God bless his heart because in reality, I bet you he was like, you know what? I'm never going to get this opportunity again. So, let's see what we can do.
For sure. Yeah. Let's get to some predictions here on Sunday's game against the NYJ. Scarps, I'll throw it to you first. What do you got for Sunday? Looks like about 68 degrees as of right now, sunny.
My predictions, I am 1-2, just like the Steelers. Yeah, I'm 1-2, just like the Steelers, and I got to go with the Steelers at this one, and I'm going to go with the Boz Bowl. I don't think it's going to be as bad as that KC playoff game when he scored all 18 points.
Right. All right.
But I'm going to go with 15-13 Steelers.
Oh, for God's sakes. Wow. Another nail biter, another heart attack for Steelers Nation. Ben, what do you got for the Jets this week?
I think it's going to be a close one again. Sorry, I don't have any faith in the Steelers offense, but I don't until they show me something. I'm not going to have faith in them. I want to remind everyone who's listening to the show tonight or watching it, the people that thought that the mobile quarterback was going to make all the difference and make this team so much better. What the fuck were you thinking? I'm serious. No, really. You think that being a quarterback, being mobile makes you a better quarterback? Really? Really?
I don't personally think it's not that it makes you a better quarterback. It's that
decision making is what is key quarterback play. Decision making.
Yes.
Even
the ability to act on it.
Even Mitch's sorry, Steel Dad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. You're fine. Go ahead.
No, I just say even Mitch's like best runs and plays that were designed, they're fine, but they're not like anything like hell. Like it's not like it's not like it's super impressive by any stretch. So that's just me.
Right.
So.
No,
anyway.
I just think
enough of my rant against Mitch. It's not like I think Mitch is.
I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, I am too. I hope he gets better. I think Mitch is better than bad, but not good.
Well,
I mean,
he's handcuffed.
Yeah, but that's such an excuse.
No,
I mean, honestly, his whole career, he's just not been good. All right.
Right. No, I guess
he's not really the problem, but he's not really the solution either. All right.
Well put. I would agree with that.
There we go. So getting back to my prediction that I'm supposed to be making right now, I'm going to go Steelers 15.5 to the Jets 13.
Ooh. Who accounts for those half points? Just
I don't
out
know.
Of curiosity.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Ian jumps back on just in time. Ian, what do you got for a prediction on Sunday? And I know you'll be in the stands at Acrisure Stadium.
Yeah. Steelers 20-14.
Oh, wow.
14. Okay. All right. I thought I was going to be the odd man out by suggesting the Steelers would score more than 20. I'm actually going to go 22-16. I'm going to go 22-16 Steelers in this one. I think a couple of turnovers are going to give us short fields, and we're going to actually do something with it. Yes, I'm being optimistic.
It's the first time we've been consensus since week 1, and we were all wrong.
Well,
So
yeah. Yikes. Oh, believe me, man, if the Jets win this game, it's going to be one hell of a shit show the rest of this year for numerous reasons. That's for damn sure. Anything to add, gentlemen, before we break off for tonight?
Oh, yeah. You want your American Top 40?
Oh, thank you. I wanted a little American Top 40 from the week of October 2nd.
Mark, do you know what month it is?
Fuck, I don't know what.
Whatever. All right, let's see if we do this. It's time for our long distance dedication. Ryan from Pittsburgh writes, "Dear Casey, I'm extremely frustrated about the future. I've heard Matt Canada is coordinating the offense for my favorite team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Will they be good eventually? Well, Ryan, your treat for you is this song moves up 7 spots this week. Asia with Only Time Will Tell." That wasn't that great. I'll do better next week.
That was excellent.
That was so great.
Or we could go with, well, Ryan, we're going to need a little magic here. Moving up to its highest point on the charts is number 2, the Steve Miller Band's Abracadabra. I hate myself.
I remember Asia, and I remember how popular they were. I mean, people were going mad over some of their stuff, and then they just fucking disappeared.
Yes turned into Asia.
Yeah, interesting, because I like Yes.
No.
Get a little progressive rock there, yeah. Anyway, any final thoughts besides Casey Kasem? No? Anyway. All right, thanks so much for everybody that jumped in on the live chat. We appreciate the hell out of all of you. And thanks for doing it. And tell your friends about it, too, if you will. Anyway, we are proudly presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And for now, this is Steel Dad signing off. And hey, go Steelers.
Hey, I hope I don't get canceled for my shirt. And if I do, if you're really angry about it, send your hate mail to Steel Dad. And also, the Ravens suck.